In the beginning, the first party made the only Transformers toys. Toys. You wish your Hasbro figures were better. Toys. I want Ultramagnus to have a white Optimus inside of him. Toys. Why don't more first party toys have figure level articulation? Toys. Wouldn't it be better if they all had hand options? Toys. You're not even close to baseline.
Don't give up on me, 'cause I'm just in a rut.
It finally happened. Yes, hello, what do? Time for another episode of Twit, actually, because I'm talking about something I got this week, and that's nice, and that's cool, and maintaining a little bit of a status quo while I just shatter it around my ears with what I'm about to talk about. Yeah, my holiday was nice, by the way. Don't put it off too long, boy. You've got to show it to the camera at some point. This is what the people are here for. This is what you're here to say. It's time to destroy your self-image, because I have bought a third-party product. I have willingly, very willingly, actually very frighteningly willingly parted with £50 for this Perfect Effect PE17 Core Magnus. It's a white Optimus Prime that you can stick inside Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, and it's very good. It's very good! Existential crisis aside, why did I buy this? Why is this my first complicit third-party figure? Because the little soundwave I got, Dorian got me that, and I didn't even know he'd bought it. He just gave it to me. He just said, "There you go." I was like, "Oh, wow, yeah, okay." What? When did that happen? You didn't need to. Thank you anyway. There we go. He just gave it to me. He just thrust it upon me, as it were, and put a chink in my armour. Put the smallest crack in my veneer of first-party totalitarianism, and all it really took was the current period of nothing new. What is there that's new? What's going to come out anytime soon? Power of the Primes doesn't start till December. Our idea seems to have finished. The Bludgeon Wave is like the last lot of it, by the look of it. So whatever's on shelves right now is all we're going to see till Christmas, and that's like, I can't live with that. I need something new. I've got to find something, but there's just nothing. And of course, admittedly, I could have gone and bought TLK Scorn, because I've handled that, and that's a very good figure. Of course, there's loads of stuff that I could be getting. It's first party and quite nice, and I'm still waiting for my Cogman to ship. But no, I went and spent a lot of money, too much money, on a third party thing. Because I got to handle John's copy of the Jinrai, the red one. The one that's like Optimus that they did first. Because he got that TF Nation, I was like, oh, that's actually a very good figure. It's incredibly dynamic. It's like, I think there's one way to describe it, is it's like the step up between, if you take the regular action figure scene, it's like you've got Marvel Legends, they're the equivalent of Hasbro Transformers. And then you've got stuff like Figuarts, the Japanese figures, that this feels like the equivalent of. It's just a bit more dynamic. It's not necessarily any more solid, actually, no, it's less. But it can do so much more, and it feels like it's just that much more of an action figure, because, it's just got joints out the wazoo. I mean, these legs, these feet are so nice, going all over the show, properly posable, old school Optimus toes with the lights in there like that. I really like that. No other figure has really done that. You can get a really good stance out of him because his knees go the wrong way just a tiny bit enough to look really straight-legged and power stance, and then he's got a ratcheted ab crunch that is totally unnecessary. It's not for transformation or anything, it's just there so you can get him to do that and look cool. And there's a swivel, and his wrists will do lots of things and curl in a bit to make him look like, oh mate, and the head goes up and down all over the place. and he's got extra jazz hands or like, whoa, action, dynamic JoJo pose hands, I don't know. The only sort of downside, I suppose, with them is that you can't store them anywhere. And I guess this is the reason why it's taking so long for things like Masterpiece figures to jump onto that bandwagon, because of course, as soon as you put some extra little hands in there that are totally just robot mode accessory guff, then you kind of ruin the whole thing of the perfect transformation and all that, because you need these hands on him to transform him. It transforms easy without any hands at all, but you know, you can't transform with those hands on. And I see where there's an argument there that would put people off, and it's like, oh, that's not really the Transformers way, is it? A bit parts-formery, but I really like proper action figures that do that come with the option parts. So to have something like this do that is just, it's good. And it makes it feel a bit more different as well. It removes it that bit more from the other Transformers in my collection, because it's not a Transformer, it's a Perfect Effect upgrade kit. And allows me to sort of look at it without being a Transformer, but just representing something different. And I don't know, I think in my head I'm putting it in the same sort of space that some of these licensed third-party things would go in. If I had the money for that big, like, Sentinel drift, then I'd have that, and that would be sort of the equivalent of this, but of course that doesn't transform, and I don't know. This, of course, yes, it interacts with Ultra Magnus and does all that, and it's a truck, it's a nice truck, but first and foremost to me it's just a really good robot figure. It's just really good. Yes, in the sort of level of iconography, if you're going to go for just a really good robot figure, should have probably gone for the Optimus one, shouldn't I? But you just can't get them anymore. They're like fallen off the face of the earth. So I thought, you know what, I'm not averse really to a white Prime Magnus look. I can kind of dig a tiny bit of the old Dreamwave feel of the white Optimus and kind of try my best to forget about Pat Lee's involvement in that. It's something that I've always been intrigued by. Like, you know, when I found out that the old Ultra Magnus toy has a white Optimus Prime inside it, and there's no explanation for that at all. Is that Ultra Magnus? What is the guy inside him? Comics don't really offer any explanation to that apart from that old Dreamwave arc where it turns out that that's what he looks like underneath. No explanation, concrete, is ever given anywhere. And it's just this kind of odd nebulous concept that only exists in the toy realm, and it just made me think, yeah, I like that. I kind of would like an Ultra Magnus that has a white Optimus Prime inside it. And so here we go. All of those different factors combined into the fact that I own this now and I'm talking to you about it and I'm feeling like a massive hypocrite. Because, and I'm not going to shy away from this, I'm going to encourage you to go and look it out. I wrote an article for the Refined Robot Co. basically outlining mildly aggressively why I'm just not into the third-party scene and all the things that are bad about it from my viewpoint, and just apparently I upset a few people in the scene that are to do with making the figures, and like, I admit I was probably being a bit harsh, but please go and read that. Go and take in exactly what my real thoughts behind the third-party scene are, and then look at me doing this now, enjoying this, and see the level of heel turning that I'm doing right now. I want you to bask in that because I can't quite comprehend it. I can't quite get my head around the fact that this was so easy to do. Like, I've been against the whole idea of all this for so long, and this was something that actually I was very excited about. Looking forward to getting this in the post, because at the time I bought it, it was a pre-order, and it suddenly appeared to come into stock really quickly after that. I was like, oh, I'm not ready. It was exciting. I was stoked for this because I knew after handling the Jinrai one, yeah, this is a decent figure that works on a level that I really appreciate. And it's like, oh man, it's something new and big. It's an event. It's my first proper third-party thing, and I can do all these pictures about it and make all these people really surprised at what I've done and do this video, etc, etc, etc. This is a turning point. This guy represents a turning point, and for that reason, probably more than any others, yeah, it really did excite me. It's something completely new, and while I still stand by a lot of my views about third party, that a lot of it is just unnecessary and doesn't interest me and is kind of badly made, and a lot of these new companies that are popping up seem to be skirting that line of like knockoff territory. I mean, look at that open and play Galvatron. It's just a bigger Titans Return Galvatron with a new head. Ooh, that's shady. Shady, shady bitches. So when it comes to things like Perfect Effects, doing an upgrade kit essentially is what this figure is, even though it is still a bloody good figure in its own right. It feels a little bit better in my mind because it's like it validates me having this big thing a little bit more. It means that, you know, you have to have the first party side of it to enjoy this third party thing, and it's all to do with just maximising the enjoyment of that first party thing. And for me, it's like reinvigorated this figure because like I haven't really touched my Combinables Ultra Magnus, even though I really like it. I've not really touched it in ages, proper ages, really dusty boy. And now it's like, yeah, it's brand new again because I can take his head off and his chest off and take the truck cab off and put them somewhere. I don't know what I'm going to do with the loose screws and things. And just sort of breathe new life into it by slamming this thing into the middle of it instead. I'm not really intending to break into any kind of review scale, look at this maybe, but I just will say that yes, this is something that I am enjoying. There are, of course, bad sides to it. A lot of it is just really thin bits, really kind of scary panel work. Like transforming this doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't make nice noises. Lots of thin stuff, especially the like the rotating radiator cover thing here left over from the Power Mastery version that the little high Q alike would go in. That doesn't need to be on Magnus. That's just like the flimsiest thing, and the way that this whole front section comes together, it's not good. It's hollow, it's light, it's plasticky, it's thin. I feel like I'm going to snap something if I'm not careful, and that ain't a good feel, is it? But the plastic does something which I appreciate, and something that I would want to see more, I suppose, in other third-party things. Not that I'm planning on getting anything else at the moment. It's glossy. It's got some sheen to it. It looks like Hasbro plastic, even though it clearly isn't. Because one thing I really don't like about third-party stuff is how a lot of it is this really resinous, rough, matte sort of plastic that doesn't feel good. It feels cheap, man. It's cheap. And this guy, while he is really thin, hollow and light, doesn't feel cheap. The plastic looks good and it renders detail nicely, and I do like the detail he's got on the go. It's not overwrought like a lot of third-party things. It's understated, and it just has an air of trying to feel like a Takara thing because of course it was made to go with the Takara Super Jinrai and God Bomber and all that, wasn't it? And I think they've done a good job of that. Of course it occupies this weird like deluxe plus size class that nothing really exists in, and has the hands and whatever that you would never see in anything first party, but at the same time it still feels like in some strange alternate future it could be a Takara product. It just has a little bit of that overall design finish that lets it fit in a little bit better with first party stuff, and so of course that's a big plus for me. Of course as well, mentally, personally, in my own house I'm trying very hard to get it to fit in because I put these repro labels on his shoulders, and to be honest I felt like that was another fun touch. It's just like, oh, I can personalise it a little bit. I can make a use of this sheet of stickers I've got I'm never really going to do anything with, and have some fun putting some stickers on there and making them look a bit more shiny and more proper Ultra Magnus. Yeah, that felt good, man. So all in all, the PU17 Core Magnus, well, like the presentation of it is just crap. Like, come on, the box is minimal effort. He's in there, there's nothing holding him in, it's just the sort of clamshell stuff, which actually I appreciate because it means you can just put him back in, take him out, and you know, he can go back in the box and look like he's brand new. And he's in there holding the gun and everything else rattles around behind him, and the instructions are, I guess, okay. They're kind of well done, but they do miss out things. So yeah, it just, it did give me the impression, upon opening it and first handling it and all that, it's like, wow, this isn't worth the money I paid for it. It's not. Where does that cost go? Of course it goes into tooling and all this, because it's much more expensive for the smaller companies to do their tooling, and when things are smaller runs, they can't pump out hundreds of thousands of things like Hasbro do, which subsidises their costs. Things get expensive when it's extensive tooling like this is. It's not exactly that much of a complex figure, but it's clever and it's got a decent parts count that is a bit more than what you would get from like a deluxe figure. Or maybe it's not, I don't know. It's hard to tell when you think about the fact that his middle is completely hollow and empty, and bits of him clearly are quite hollow and empty. You can tell inside his head is a void. It feels okay, but at the same time I am struggling, especially if it's a repaint of something, which you would think, it's just a cost recouping measure that they would have made most of their money back with the first release. It's like, where is my 50 quid in this? Valid questions, which I can, through a stupid lens of subjectivity, just say, well, doesn't really matter because I'm having a lot of fun with it. I can't really put it down because it does exactly the sort of thing that I like from any action figure, not just Transformers, in just that it doesn't exactly give you more joints than the average action figure would. It just plays with them in a better sort of range. The range of motion and everything on this is just great, and it leaves it just being this thing that I can't stop posing and putting on the stand and having on my shelf in these poses that are all dynamic and kung fu and whatever. Just, it looks good and it does more than the average. Yeah, I really like it. Admitting that to myself feels dirty, feels naughty, and yet it's true. I am enjoying this, and I feel like I'm being a bad person for doing so. I feel like I'm reneging on a lot of the rhetoric that I've put out in the past. This isn't me. This isn't me. Buying and really enjoying some third-party trash is no, that's not me. I've built up an image for myself here as a guy who advocates and will always defend and will always prefer first party, and that's still true. But yeah, I never thought that it would be in me to really enjoy something third party. And I guess that's just goes to show the kind of shift in the whole scene that this series brought about. Because of course, with the previous red version, and then you got the whole Make Toys thing with their cross-dimension stuff being quite original, and now they're branching into Cybertron masterpiece-like figures, and I'm just biting my fist so hard at that, because it's oh, now I'm in there. Now I've dipped my toes in that pool. When they drop that Galaxy Manus, their big, probably 130, 150 probably quid Cybertron Optimus Primer, I'm going to be sweating because I'm going to want that, and I'm going to think I should get it. And the notions that I've held in my head up to this point that say, it's expensive, it's not really worth it because it's not any real kind of collective value, because it's not anything really to do with the brand. And what would it be like if you walked into a boot fair and you were a kid and you picked up all this stuff and someone has just chucked out of their old collection? It's it's not a real Transformer, and it's such a grey, weird, uncomfortable area that all this stuff occupies. And yet I'm now looking at it oh no, they're starting to cater to me. Oh dear. So yeah, I have to admit that now it feels like I've joined the party that a lot of other people, a lot of you lot, are already a part of, and I'm in there, in that third party realm, feeling slightly sticky and dirty. But don't expect me to stick around for too long, because yeah, it's going to be a good long while until something really, really good comes along, I think. Unless I do just lose my mind and start to buy random Make Toys things, because I have to say, if there's a kind of hierarchy to the landscape, or maybe some kind of core-based spherical diagram, you've got those outer fringes. the new companies like Open and Play and some of those that kind of shifty and kind of knock-offy, and then you've got another sort of tier in, and you've got a lot of the new boys that haven't really done a lot, and their stuff's kind of okay and not really great and doesn't appeal to me at all. Right there in the middle, you go all the way in, right at the core, I guess you would have had like 3 companies. Fans Project, which are dead, forget about them. Make Toys, which I kind of have to say I rather like a lot of their stuff. There's something going on with the aesthetic of just their general in-house style that is pretty good, and of course their cross-dimension stuff is trying to be more original and doing just crazy anime style superposable Transformers-y designs that aren't particularly anyone in particular if you don't really want them to be. That's more of the sort of 3P thing that I think there should be. And then of course you've got the third one, MMC, Mastermind Creations, who again I guess are doing more of the sort of thing that you should be getting out of this market. A lot of the comic only designs being rendered into plastic that people are really going for. But I have to say, I'm just not a fan of their style. There's just something about the way that their figures are put together, joints and proportions, plastic surfaces, detailing. I don't know what it is concretely. I can't put my finger on any one thing, but it's just something about all of their stuff that doesn't gel with me. I don't dig it. I don't dig it. Something's off there. So yeah, I guess if I was going to say that I was going to be looking at third-party stuff, I think I'd just be focusing on Make Toys, and that's okay, you know, because at the end of the day, this scene is so vast and so much vaster than I'm properly aware of, because there are people out there who buy like nearly all of it, and it's like, that's just excessive. I'm just, you know, I can take it or leave it, because Hasbro's where it's at. That's always going to be where it's at and where my eyes are firmly fixed, especially after those nice Power of the Primes reveals, Terracoms, oh yes please, but where are Abominus's ears? But I have to say, I can now see that there is an appeal and there is a level of fun in some of the third-party stuff that is definitely, you know, definitely feels that niche of stuff that Hasbro won't ever make, because it's not the style of things they make, because they're not going for being toys, they're going for being collector piece action figure things. And while those words just kind of stick in my mouth and they're just awful to say out loud, every now and then it's good to have something like that, just have something a bit high end and a bit different, a bit like, oh yeah, this is a bit more classy. Again, that just feels gross to say that, but it's true. The toys are great, I will always love toys, but I'm a grown man throwing money at this, and every now and then I'd like something a little bit more swish, and I suppose that's what this represents. So there you have it. The Perfect Effect Core Magnus is my first real foray into the third party scene, and I'm happy with it. It's fun, it's cool. I'm scared that I'm not more angry at myself for doing this, and I apologise for the self-image shattering that I have just brought unto you. Maybe you liked me more because I was one of these guys who doesn't touch this stuff, and I can appreciate your sentiment and completely agree with you. Maybe this is a dark day for me, maybe I'm encroaching into a well of sin, but all in all, it's just one thing, and it works with something I've already got, and it still makes use of the first party side of things, allows me to enjoy this first party figure a little bit more, and have a bit more fun with my big old Ultra Magnus, and yeah, I'm just justifying it to myself, aren't I? Really? That's what I'm doing. That's all this entire video has been, just me trying to find a way to justify my purchase of this thing to myself and to you. Because really, in reality, at a very base level, it was just like, I want it, I don't know why, I kind of really like that, so I'm going to go and buy it, and oh yes. Would I recommend it to you? Only if you particularly really like Ultra Magnus, or particularly really like the idea of a white Optimus Prime. Because really, I guess, let's face it, everyone wants to go for the Jinrai one, don't they? So, if you're going to buy the Magnus, and it's a nice way to upgrade your Magnus and, I don't know, bulk him out. I mean, it does add all that to his back. It's a bit much, but it makes him a bit more weighty and it lets him look up and the truck looks a bit better on there, and I don't know. It's good, it's bad, it's somewhere in between, it's okay, I've got it, it does things, maybe you like it too. Maybe in amongst all this talking I've outlined something that you've been looking for as to a reason to buy or not buy this thing, but all I can really tell you is that I'm happy with my first third party purchase. What happened to the real me? Where did he go?